Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So for those of you who know, I've got a brain injury. If you haven't seen my last video, I will link it in the description down below so you can go and watch that. Please like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and click the little bell which notifies you every time I upload. So today I'm going to tell you the story of how I actually came to have my brain injury. I had a car crash, which makes my brain injury a TBI, which means traumatic brain injury. So this happened in 2015 when I was 19 years old. I'm 23 now, so it happened a good 4 years ago now. So I was 19 years old, went to a sports bar with my friend, let's call him Dan, had a few drinks, and then me and Dan thought it was a good idea to invite our other friend, let's call him Kyle. Now Kyle drove, literally we was hungry and thought, yeah, let's go to McDonald's. Now I'm saying allegedly because I don't remember what happened personally. This is just from what the police report stated. We all jumped into Kyle's car and toddled off on our way to McDonald's, but unfortunately we didn't get there. So we was going down a 60 miles an hour road, and because 60 miles an hour is actually quite fast, Kyle lost control of the car and we actually went into a ditch. But we went into the ditch with such force that the car actually sprung back out and rolled 200 metres. Now because of this, I'm quite small and petite. I slipped out of my seatbelt. I was in the front, in the passenger seat. So I slipped out of my seatbelt and I actually was underneath Dan in the back. So as I heard from the police, Kyle was nowhere to be found. So technically he did leave me and Dan for dead. Like, he probably thought he killed us. But there was a dog walker walking by, thankfully, and he called the police. So the police arrived with the on-call trauma doctor and also the fireman. And what happened was me and Dan were trapped in the vehicle for approximately 20 minutes. They had to cut out the middle of the car, you know, between the front door and the back door. Cut that bit out to actually retrieve me and Dan out of the car. And then I had CPR at the scene because I had brief apnea. And then we was put into medically induced comas by the on-call doctor. Me and Dan were transferred into the ambulance and off we went to the hospital. The crash happened in Stratford-upon-Avon and we was transported to Coventry University Hospital. And I cannot thank the doctors and nurses and any of the staff there that helped me and Dan, because without you guys we wouldn't be here. So anyway, back to the story. We got there and obviously the trauma team were there. We got taken into the MRI scanners and CAT scans and everything. We had all that done. Was wearing neck braces because they didn't know if anything could happen to our spinal cord or anything like that. So we had a CT scan of our head, an MRI of our thoracic lumbar spine. Sorry, I'm looking at the notes here just because I can't remember. So yeah, everything seemed okay. So we went down to the ICU because we were in medically induced comas. We had bolts put in our head, which is to measure your ICP pressure, which is your intracranial pressure. And then measured that because if it went past a certain level, they was going to have to cut out part of our skull to let our brains swell and go back down. But thankfully, that didn't have to happen. Our parents were alerted to police women came to my door and told my parents what happened and blues and twos them to the hospital. Obviously, because they didn't know how long we had, like, they didn't think that we would make it out of the hospital alive. So my parents got there, Dan's parents had got there. So yeah, me and Dan were in medically induced comas. I think Dan was in his for just over a week and I was in mine for just over 2 weeks. I cannot remember anything about being in a coma. Some people say that you can hear everyone around you or anything, but I personally did not hear anything. It was literally just like one big sleep to me. So I unfortunately got a chest infection when I was in ICU, but thankfully, because obviously I wasn't coherent or anything, I don't remember this at all. So my injuries from the crash: we had a left subchondroid hemorrhage. I also had chest contusions on my left side, and I also broke my left scapula, which means my shoulder. Finally woke up. Cannot remember waking up. I can't remember anything from 2 weeks after waking up. Obviously I was all over the place, so I didn't know what's what. I had to, like, I don't remember this, but my parents have told me that I had like 3 images and I had to match 2 together. So say like a bucket, spade and chicken, and I matched like the chicken with the spade. Like, that's how messed up I was at that moment. So I was in hospital for another 6 weeks following waking up, and then obviously after that I got transferred to a rehabilitation hospital to help with everything else. And back then I wasn't in the right frame of mind. I couldn't get my head around the fact that I've got a brain injury and everything's just completely different, and I wasn't okay with it at all. So because I was 19, I was technically an adult. I discharged myself from hospital, which I shouldn't have done now, but at the time I thought it was the right thing to do. So overall I was in hospital for 2 months. It was a very hard 2 months. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone. A bad experience to go through. So lasting damage, my left leg has nerve damage, so I can't really explain it. Like, it just feels weird. Like, if I lay down in bed, like, you know, you can feel like the mattress underneath you. It just feels weird, my left leg compared to my right leg. I also have my right hand. I was right-handed, now I'm left-handed, because I have tremors in my right hand. It's not all the time, but mainly when I try to concentrate or do something, like when I hold a full cup, my hand will start to shake and stuff like that. And when I'm tired, my hand will shake more. But now I go to a place called Headway, which is a brain injury place. So if you want to know about Headway, I'll be doing another video on that. So going to Headway really helps me out. There's a lot of people there that have got brain injuries from different like circumstances and stuff. All the staff there are really, really nice. Yeah, it's literally the best thing that's happened to me since having my brain injury, because I'm there and there's people and staff that actually understand what I'm going through, which is amazing. So yeah, that's my story. I hope you've enjoyed listening to my version of events. Thank you so much for listening if you have listened this far, and I guess I'll see you next week. Bye guys!